Hey app developers, welcome back to Inside Dynatrace Apps. Today we're going to talk about the Strato Design System and a bit more about design systems in general. Today we have a very special guest with us. Hi Fabian, how's it going?
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Please tell us a bit more about yourself and your role in Dynatrace.
Yeah, for sure. So my name is Fabian Friedl. I work at Dynatrace now a little bit over 7 years. I've been around for a while, and my role is senior product architect at Dynatrace with the main focus on UI development and primarily on our design system Strato.
So Fabian, what is a design system?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think design systems can be defined by everyone a little bit differently depending on the company, depending on the goals, depending on the requirements, obviously. But in general, you could say that the design system is a collection of building blocks that start out with the design information, so which colors, which icons, and so on the company wants the product to look like, and then you build upon those building blocks with more. Like you have a component library, you might have Figma or design resources that build on those on design informations, and all of those things combined usually is what I would define as a design system.
So why should we use a design system, or should we even?
One of the main benefits is that you centralize how the company wants the product to feel and look like, and how certain user interactions should be handled in the product. And it's a central place that can define patterns, that can define how the product is then consumed by your end users. And this is really where a design system can help to formalize these concepts and bring those to life. And then the engineers can focus actually on the business value that they can bring with their applications on the Dynatrace platform. They don't have to think about how certain UI elements should be looking on the Dynatrace platform. They can solely focus on provide the most business value with their applications to our end customers.
What are some of the approaches to actually implementing such a design system?
Obviously, as a company that might not want to invest into their own design system, you can build upon the work of others, obviously. Like there are design systems out there that are publicly available. For instance, Google's Material design system is available, and you can use those libraries and component libraries for your respective frameworks. They are open source. And usually you can apply those and adopt those to your needs, right? You can customize them, but you can also, like we did at Dynatrace, you can also say you want your unique look and feel for your company. And this is where usually you create your own design system that really brings your company's design language and your company's look and feel to life. And there are also multiple ways to leverage also the work prior, like building on blocks that are style agnostic, that don't come with styling, where you can apply your own styles to them and where you can bring your own design language to them and still save time during development efforts and so on. So there are aspects where you can adopt a given system and make it your own basically, but you can also choose to say we really want to stand out as a company and we really want to bring our own, we really want to create our own, and this is where you then steer more towards creating your own system but also leverage what's already been out there.
And yeah, definitely Dynatrace likes to stand out, so we created our own design system called the Strato Design System. Can you tell us a bit more about it? What are some of the building blocks and some of their features?
What we are building right now consists of multiple layers. So we have the design team owning the foundational pieces that we ship as design tokens. So design tokens are basically the lowest level of design information, but consumable by different tools and also by engineers in code later on. So we are talking about typography information, we are talking about color information and the like. And based on those building blocks that we have in terms of design tokens, we then start layering more and more on top. So those design tokens are then consumed by our designers in Figma. They are building mock-ups based on those tokens and based on reusable components that we have in Figma. But obviously your product doesn't end in Figma, right? So you need to bring that to life with your engineers and actually deploy applications on the Dynatrace platform. So we can also consume those design tokens in our component library that we're building that consists of multiple components that we tailor make for our use cases on the Dynatrace platform. So we have tight integration with the Dynatrace platform, which is something very unique as a design system. We are building a design system for the Dynatrace platform and for app developers on the Dynatrace platform, so to make their life as easy as possible and leverage the full power of the Dynatrace platform. So think about automatic dark mode integration with your user preferences on the design system. And this applies then to all the components that we have. We also have a huge set of charting and data visualization components, because obviously for Dynatrace as a product and as a platform, data visualization and visualizing the data that you have with Dynatrace as a customer is key and paramount. So this is where we are very different to some of the design systems out there, because we really focus on the Dynatrace platform and the Dynatrace use cases that we see there.
Great, and that's actually a perfect segue for my next question. Why should anyone use the Strato Design System specifically to build Dynatrace apps?
The main benefit is that you don't just get the building blocks that you're used to from other design systems. You don't just get buttons, select boxes, inputs, and so on. But what you also get is you get components as an engineer that really are tightly integrated into Dynatrace and Dynatrace as a platform. So we have really good connections to Grail as an input source, and we have really good connections to the platform and its features. Like I mentioned, you can send data directly from our components to another application on the Dynatrace platform without having to go through a lot of hoops. It's very convenient. We provide those building blocks that really tightly integrate into the user experience and also into the data that we have at Dynatrace and that we want inside Dynatrace applications.
Cool, and are there any limitations to using the Strato Design System in Dynatrace apps?
Basically, there are no limitations. We are obviously making everything that we do, we really focus on making it easy to be consumed on the Dynatrace platform. So we always have that aspect in mind. And that's our primary focus with Strato, to make the life of a developer on the Dynatrace platform as easy as possible and get the most out of it with the least effort involved.
Great. So where can app developers find documentation for the Strato Design System and get help if they find any issues?
Yeah, so we have multiple outlets. Obviously, the main one is the developer portal that we have. You can find API references there, but you can also find interactive examples of most of our components that we have inside the Strato Design System, which really help you to get going once you start developing your application, right? So we have ready-made code snippets that you can copy and paste into your application to, for instance, get a nice looking data table that is already working with data that you then just switch out with your own that you get from Grail. So the entry barrier and the examples the entry barrier is really low, and the example should get you there really fast. And also there is the community that we have as well, where you can ask questions, where you can get answers from developers and help from Dynatrace. So if anything is unclear, and obviously you have multiple channels to provide feedback as well if you spot something that we should be improving.
Of course, we will link all of these resources and more in the description. Okay, Fabian, so the Strato Design System is still in development. What does the future look like? What can we expect for the first stable release?
Obviously, the design system is never really finished. Like any product, you always have ways to improve. And what we are focusing on for the future is that we even make the integration into the vast amounts of data that we have at Dynatrace with our components even easier than it is right now. So we are really looking to cover the most seen use cases that we have. for you as efficiently as possible. So really connect our components to the data. This is one aspect that we want to focus on in the future. And also with the power of design tokens as a foundation, we can constantly evolve the design language that we use for our components. So also you can expect updates in the visual look and feel of Dynatrace going forward as well. And in general, there are multiple different, very interesting data visualization components that we have on our roadmaps, where we will provide even more power to get insights into your data by ready-made components provided by Strato.
Thank you very much, Fabian, for joining us. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, bye-bye.
If you like this episode, please leave us a like for Fabian, and don't forget that we always put out new content every month, so subscribe and see you in the next one.